Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Ask the Expert session. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever time zone you may be joining us today. I'm Rebecca Cronin, and I'm one of the customer success managers here with the Altair team. Some of you might recognize my voice or my name from either participating in our onboarding sessions or perhaps seeing my name within the user community. The customer success team, we're here as another point of contact for you to reach out at any time with any questions, concerns you may have regarding Altair solutions, as well as if you're unable to get a hold of your account manager. We can provide you assistance with getting access to our online community as well as to Altair One if you run into any issues. And if you haven't been to the user community, I highly recommend in joining and participating. It gives you the opportunity to collaborate with fellow peers as well as ask any questions to some of our experts. So a little housekeeping before we get started. In the control panel, you should see our handout section. It has a copy of today's PowerPoint that you may download. In this PowerPoint, we contain some helpful web links to our YouTube community source, as well as the customer success email address. You'll also see in the control panel a question section where you can submit your question at any time during the session. It does not have to be about today's topic, which we're covering user-defined functions. It could be anything related to Monarch, Monarch server that you may have. We will do our best to answer your question in the time slot that we have. And if we're unable to get to your question, we will follow up, perhaps through a support ticket. So allow us some 2 to 5 business days to get back to you. If you find this topic is a great one that should be attended by your fellow colleagues, in the chat section, you'll probably see the link that you can send them to come and register. So now I'd like to introduce you to our expert for today. It's Mo Abdolrahim. He's one of our senior professional service consultants. He's been with the organization for over 15 plus years, providing our customers both on and off site with tremendous help in meeting their project needs. Some of you may have actually had the pleasure of working with him, or perhaps seen his comments through the user community. So with no further ado, I am going to make Mo our presenter, and we're going to dive into today's topic regarding user-defined functions. So let's find you, Mo, make you presenter.
Okay, thanks, Rebecca. Let me
You're welcome.
my screen.
And I see, looks like.
Maybe I just share wrong screen. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, the user-defined function.
User-defined function, correct.
Perfect.
Okay, well, hello everybody and good morning. So today's topic is user-defined functions. I will be using the latest version of Monarch Client version 2024.1. So before we go to an example, what is a function basically? Well, a function is basically in computer is a small reusable program that performs a task and returns a value. Okay, so when you create a function, basically if you have multiple functions, the name has to be unique name. So user-defined function can be created from a combination of Data Prep Studio built-in functions. Okay, so as some of you are already using the Data Prep Studio, you know there are many functions, so you can use those built-in functions to create your own user-defined functions. User-defined may contain parameters or may not. Okay. Basically, you can pass parameters to your user, functions, and may not have a parameter. So, for example, this is like a function name. I prefix it with txt, meaning that this function returns value is a text value. It returns a text. So you can use your own conventions. Like if the function returns integer, you may want to just prefix it with int, or if it's date, returns date, you want to just say dt. The parameters are in the parentheses. So you can have optional parameters or mandatory parameters. Like the one in the red color, this parameters is mandatory, and it is prefixed with txt, meaning the text parameter has to be a text value. And the second parameter, which is enclosed in square brackets, is optional, and it starts with int, meaning this second parameter is integer, or like another function too that returns an integer value. Okay, so parameter should be of type text, numeric, or date time. These are the field types that are supported in Data Prep Studio. Also, the return values that the function would return should be one of those field types: text, numeric, date time, value. So user-defined can be used in calculated field, filter, and find expressions. Okay. So for example, this is an example of user-defined function. Previous business day, which returns a date value, and it requires an optional parameter of type date, and it would return the date value, the previous date. As you can see that I'm using the built-in functions here, weekdays and date adjust functions for this example. You can also add documents about what the function does, and also you can use the HTML tag for the parameters. If you have multiple parameters, you can include that, enclose it in less than a number and greater than a number. So if the next one would be, the second parameter would be less than 2, and then some descriptions about the second parameter, and then basically close, /2 for the second parameter, although it's not shown here, but I will demonstrate it in the example. There's also documentations. You can go and look at the documentations in user-defined functions, and that's very easy to find. I'll show you shortly. So again, this is Monarch 2024.1. So in order to create your own user-defined functions, you need to create a workspace. I suggest that you just create like a very small file. Like I have this file UDF, so I can just open this file in Data Prep Studio and create my own user-defined functions. Okay, so I'm just going to click on Open Data, PDF text. This is going to be a delimited file. Just select that file and open it in Data Prep. So I just want to have one field in Data Prep Studio. And also I can pin this. Pinning means it includes this data, UDF, as part of the workspace. So if next time I open it, it cannot find that file. It's not going to ask me, find missing files. So basically, this text is part of the workspace. So to create a user-defined functions, basically, I want to create a previous business day. Okay. So basically, I click on that drop-down, go to the column, and new formula column. Okay. So as you can see that this is for the user-defined functions. If I click here, this manages all existing user-defined functions, which at the moment there is none. And if I have another user-defined functions in a different workspace, I can import it. Okay. Or you can just click on this drop-down, go all the way to the bottom, user-defined functions. If you have some, you will see it here. But just to create one, you just click on the plus. And here in this dialog, you can specify your user-defined functions. Okay, so we're going to start this with the previous business day. Okay, so that is the name of the functions, and this function returns a date. Again, this is optional. You can just, however you want to name your functions, but I recommend just have a conventions for the parameters and the functions, what the return values for the function is, or your parameters. And then for the descriptions, so I can just, rather than just type, let me just save time, just go to my PowerPoint slide and just copy the text here and drop it here, paste it here. Okay, so you can provide some descriptions about what the function does. So this function basically returns previous date. Monday, Sunday, and Saturday returns Friday's date. So this does not include holidays. Okay, and other days, just like if Tuesday returns Mondays, if Wednesday returns Tuesday date. And the parameter here, an optional date value. If omitted, today's date will be used. Okay, so this is, if this is going to be, so this one basically just has one parameter, not two. Okay, and then on top of the description, let me just open up and just put the syntax for the previous business day. And then my parameter, which is an optional parameter, and this is going to be a date parameter. Okay, so this parameter basically would be in the category of date. So you want to specify if the function returns string, you want to put it on the string, or numeric, or date. Okay, so this is going to be returning a value of date. Then you just click on add new form. So you just click here, and then so you just add a parameter here for the date value. And so this is going to be, so it is a date. So I call it DT for date, parameter 1, and it's of type date, time. And optionally, you can add a test value here. For example, if I put in today's date, which is Wednesday, it should return yesterday's date, which is 17, after I put in the formula here. Okay. Also, don't forget to specify the return type. Okay. If you don't, after you put your formula here, if this is not selected, the OK button will not be enabled. Okay. Let me just maximize this slide out box. Okay. So the return value is also date time. Okay. Now I can basically put the formula here. So I'm just going to go to the PowerPoint slide and just copy and paste it here. So basically, this is using the if function, which is a part of the special if function, and checks the weekday. And this is the parameter that I called here. It is used as an argument, okay, to weekday. So if the date, the weekday basically returns a number. So 7 means is Sunday, 1 means is Saturday, and then 2 means is Monday, 3 means is Tuesday, and so on and so forth. So 6 means Friday. Okay, so I check for a number, and then depending on if it's Saturday or Sunday or Monday, then I subtract a number from date adjust. Date adjust is another function that you can use to return a date either forward or backward, depending on this number at the end. So it's a date, year, month. So it's got 4 arguments: date, year, month, and the number of days that you want to go forward, if you specify a positive value, or if you want to go backward, you specify a negative value here. Okay, and you can also document your functions. So these tags here, slash asterisk on the other end basically comments this formula. Okay, so once this is completed, you can just click on the OK button. All right, and then you can click on OK button here since we're done. So I just added my first user-defined functions, and this basically goes in this category here. Okay. All right. So now that I added this user-defined functions, I can now save it. You can just save it maybe on anywhere on your desktop or OneDrive. Okay. All right. So let's just minimize that. I'm going to open another instance of Monarch and utilize that user-defined functions that I just created. Then I add the optional parameters to that function. So there is just wait till the next instance of. Hopefully, it should come up soon. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, so all right. So I also created a file for this demo, and that's also a delimited file, which is data.csv. And basically, data.csv contains a few fields, name, social security, credit card, transaction date, and date. So these dates just says, these dates are Wednesday, Sunday, Saturday, or Monday. And then I can open it in data prep. So the first thing I want to do, maybe I just want to format this so it'll be short date. Okay. All right. So then I want to return the previous date for these transaction dates. So then I just click on open. Okay. All right, so if I click here again, you notice that this is a new workspace. There is no user-defined functions, so I can just click on open from file. Then I just navigate to where I save that user-defined functions and just grab the user-defined functions that I created and add it to my workspace here. Okay. So now if I go to the bottom, user-defined functions, you can see it's added here. And also, because this is a date category, if you go to the date category, you can also see that it is also added to the date category previous date. Okay, so if I double click on it, again, you can see that it expects an argument here. And you notice that this part is highlighted because of that the HTML tag, one at the beginning and /1 at the end of this text. So if you have multiple parameters, you can just add that HTML help to tell the users, about the parameters. So I can basically just add double click on transaction date, and you notice that it just returns the previous date on the next column. Okay, so if you find some functions that you do repeated, frequently, and it's you just you can then create a user-defined functions, save it in your user-defined functions and reuse it, or maybe share it with other colleagues in your organization. So with that, let's just go add the optional parameters. So what if I want, like, instead of passing that transaction date, if I don't pass any parameter, I want the previous date just returns the yesterday's date. Okay. So so going back to my user-defined functions. So again, I'm just gonna go to the new formula field and then click on category. So this is the user-defined functions. You can also add duplicate it if you and then modify it. But I don't want to duplicate it. I just want to add the optional parameter to user-defined functions. So here, basically, you just add a new form. And again, there is no parameter because what if the user doesn't include a parameter? So I want to use today's date. Okay. So in this case, let me just basically, I need to grab that formula so I don't have to type everything. Just copy the formula, cancel, and then add new form. And then here, maximize that, paste that here. Again, you want to make sure that you specify the return value, which is date time. So instead of the parameter, because there is no parameter, that if the user doesn't specify a parameter, so instead I want to change that with today's date, which is there's a function called today. So basically, replace DTP1 with today. Maybe it would be faster if I just took this formula in maybe Notepad++ and just do a global find and replace and then paste it here. Okay. All right. So by changing the parameter to today's date, okay, now I have, this is the one that requires a parameter. This one doesn't require a parameter. If the user doesn't specify a parameter, then it just uses, today, date, -1, or minus whatever the 1, 3, or 2. Okay, so, and then cancel it, and then save the workspace. Okay, so that's saved in the user-defined functions. Now I can open the other instance of Data Prep Studio and go back to user-defined functions. So this time, again, if I click here and then don't specify a parameter, okay, maybe I need to go grab that just a sec, because it doesn't have the latest import. User-defined functions. Okay, now it's got so this is the one without the optional parameter. This one with optional parameter. Okay, so so if I go down user-defined functions, so I'm going to select the second one. Although it just added a one because it's a different, has to be unique name. Let's just delete the whole thing. Okay, so this time, because I added that optional parameter, so I don't have to, if I don't put any parameters here, it just uses today's date and shows like yesterday's date. Or I can just put the transaction date and it just uses that transaction date and displays the previous date. Okay, and then click OK. So optional, I mean, I would probably just use one of those syntax, not having two, but just to show you how you can just add the optional parameter for user-defined functions. I also have other, columns here. For example, if I want to change this name to be first name followed by last name, you can create a user-defined functions to do that, as opposed to find out how you can, just write some sort of functions to do this task. So I have created a different user. I have my own user-defined functions to do this. Basically, again, go to import. And this time, I'm going to redirect this to a different user-defined functions that I have a few user-defined functions created. And that is residing in this workspace. So these are other, user-defined functions that I created. So for the basically last name, first name, user-defined functions, I can just select this one, add it to this to the workspace. So this is the one, and then click OK here. Then I just go down to the user-defined functions, select, last name, first name. Again, you can see that this is the syntax. It requires an argument, and that argument would be the name here. So just double click, name. So you can see that it just looks at the last name, first name, and it automatically changes to like a first name, comma, last name. Okay. And again, this would be, if I save the workspace, these these three user-defined functions will be part of the workspace. So you don't have to import it again from user-defined function. It will be included in the workspace. Now, to see what this user-defined function did, you can just click on the plus, the pencil, and then again, this is just descriptions. Then you can look at the formula that's used here. So basically, I am using a regex replace, which is part of the built-in function in Data Prep Studio, and that is the field that contains the name. So it is basically looking for so I'm using a regex, so it's looking for a single character, has to be uppercase, A through Z, followed by lowercase characters A through Z. One plus means one or more. Okay, so basically this is a single character, and these are multiple characters. Because if you notice that in the examples, their last name and first name started with uppercase, and everything else were lower cases. Okay, so this basically looks at the first part, which is the last name. Then the second part, this looks at the first name, and then with the regex replace, you can use, and you notice that these are enclosed in parentheses, which means they are like, you can look at it as an array 1, array 2. So basically, I want to put the array number 2, which is the first name. I want to show as first, and then the last name would be the second part. So you can use the $2, which represents this part of the expression, and $1, which represents this part of the expression. So you can then you will see that when I'm using this function, it just replaces Mo Abdolrahim with Mo comma Abdolrahim. Just because again the syntax is looking at uppercase first character on last name and first name, and just rotate, replace those two first name, last name in this column. Okay. Other parameters here, like social security. If you have a social security that doesn't have dashes, let's say you want to add dashes in social security. Again, I created some user-defined functions that will do that. Again, I'll just go to columns, call this SSN with dashes. Okay. Again, import from. So I just go back to the user-defined functions that I created earlier. Okay, so basically add dashes to Social Security. So this is the one I want. So I just add it here, and again, this returns a text value, and is also so it will be part of the text. You can obviously you can go to user-defined functions. You can see it here, or if you go to the string here, you can see that it also shows under this category. Okay, so if I click here and then add the SSN here, so basically it just takes that Social Security and add the dashes in between. Okay, so you can take a look at what this function does. Basically, again, it uses a regex replace again. So this is the field containing the Social Security. Again, you notice that the regex pattern, so this first the first parameter here returns exactly 3 digits enclosed in parentheses, meaning this is like a first array. Then second array returns exactly 2 digits, and third array returns exactly 4 digits. And then you can in the second part of the regex, because regex replace requires 3 arguments: a field, a pattern, and replacement parameter. So the replacement parameter just says, okay, this is the first array, put a dash, and then second array, put a dash, and third array, and that's it. And it just adds the dashes to those 3, the Social Security. Okay. So I want to pause here if there is any questions. I don't see any questions. Okay. Again, I also created another functions to return visa number. So you can see that this column contains a visa number. If you notice, visa number starts, the 16-digit visa number starts with 4, and then American, I think American Express or MasterCard, excuse me, MasterCard starts with 5. So if I want to extract the visa number from this column, then again, I created a function, user-defined functions that just extract these values. So again, you just go to user-defined functions, and under category, import from files. Okay, so there is the visa number, okay, which basically requires 2 arguments, or second argument is mandatory. Basically, let's just select that and then discuss it. Okay. Now I can just go to the user-defined functions and just add that. So basically, the first argument is a 16-digit visa number. And if I put the cursor after the comma, it just shows the end occurrence. So if there are multiple occurrences of the visa number, I want to get the second occurrence or first occurrence. So if it's not specified, it will return the first occurrence of that the visa number. So so credit card number, just put 1 here. So you notice that it just returns the first occurrence if I don't specify, or I can just say, give me the first occurrence, which basically there is just there's 1 occurrence of the visa number. If I put 2, it doesn't return anything because I don't have 2 occurrences of visa number in that field. Okay. So you can either don't specify a second argument, just visa number, and by default it just returns the first occurrences. But if this field contains multiple visa numbers and you wanted like the third occurrences, then you could just put comma, give me the third occurrences of visa number. Again, just looking at how it's been structured. So this is the syntax. Again, you can use the HTML syntax to specify the parameter as the user put the focus on the second argument. It will just highlight it, so it will show this text. So if you have multiple arguments, just separate them by semicolon and make sure that the first one is 1/1, 2/2, 3/3. And again, this is the one that both arguments are required. So I have two parameters. Again, you add parameters, it just gives you first parameter, and then you click on the add parameter, gives you the second parameter. You need to specify what type of field it is. Okay, and then optionally you can add this test value so you can test it. So for example, if I put in here like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think that's 16 digits. And then I want the first occurrences here. Basically, it just returns that value. Okay, so you can test it. And this is the formula, regex extract, which again expects a field, and the pattern requires a 4 at the beginning and exactly 15 digits. And then the second argument, so just whatever that value is, it just says, give me the first occurrences. If I change that to 2, then it doesn't return anything because there is only one visa number here. Okay, I see questions here for workspaces that are uploaded for use in Automator. Is there an easy way to tell which one use user-defined functions in the event the function needs to be updated or maintained? Well, you can, okay, that's a good question. Let's just, you can look at the workspaces the information in Monarch server. So the question is, if somebody opens have a user-defined functions and upload that to the Monarch server, is it how easy it is to see that function or maintain it? Okay, so let's just go to the this is my Monarch server. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to open a let me see. I want to see something with the use it with the workspace. I think I have. When you see this cancel, you can just click on it because it tries to make sure that all the objects files are visible. So if I click on workspace object, you can click on here. Okay, and this will show you actually general input, export, summaries, and settings. Not sure delimited text. Well, I'm not sure if that's a good question. I never thought about it, but it doesn't show the functions that are used here. I thought there would be something. Mentions, no. Import, these are just import. I don't see anything that show me user-defined functions or the functions that are used here. So I thought there would be something there, but there's nothing here. Although within the workspace itself, let me just click OK. Let's see if this provides anything here, because you can click on the workspace information and just take a look at the workspace information here, but it doesn't provide anything on user-defined functions, unfortunately. Maybe something we can just add as a future enhancement to add the user-defined functions in here. So as you can see, I don't see any user-defined functions. Okay, so I don't see it within the workspace, and I think that we just use the same SDK in data prep in Monarch server, and I don't see it in Monarch server for the workspace information. Doesn't show me of any function. Although this workspace does not have a user-defined functions, but you know, I don't see a tab that says user-defined functions here. Okay. So again, maybe we can just add as a future enhancement. Okay. So next question, would it be helpful? Yeah, would be, of course, it would be a helpful enhancement. So yeah, we can put a note on it. I can open a Jira ticket, and you know, hopefully we can add that information in the future releases. All right, so any other questions? I don't see any other questions. So basically, I got one more user-defined functions to discuss, and that is because we do have redaction here in data prep. It's part of the text or string. Oh, no, sorry. It's a category by itself. Okay, so so you can redact the data given text, you know, by striking out characters with given overstrike or digits. But I don't see anything that allows me to redact the last four character of the text. So I decided to just create a user-defined functions that would just do that. Okay. So if I have, again, if I have a social security, I want to, like, let's say, redact the last four digits. Okay. Again, I do have functions for this. Let's just go add that import from file. And okay. So this is the one, redact last four digits. Okay. Again, it's got two parameters or a single parameter. So the second argument is optional. The first argument is mandatory, but the second argument is optional. And you notice that because the second function has an optional parameter, it just repeats the name. Okay, but it's just one argument. So I'm going to select that. Okay, now that I added that, so it is, although I probably should have added that under the redaction, but it's just added to the string. Okay, which is here. Okay, so if I have a social security, and by default, if I don't specify an argument, it just expects a social security number. Okay, and you can see that the last four digits are redacted. Or if I click on the second argument, I found that while I was testing, if the user enters a $sign to redact by $sign, then it just replaces with a space. So maybe this is part of the regex character that behaves that way. So I just added this text here. If the user, for example, put in $sign to redact the last 4 digits by $, and just replace it with a space. Okay, or maybe we can just change that to like redacted by the pound sign. Okay, so it just changes the last 4 digits by pound signs. Okay, now let's see how this function is being created. Okay, now let's go back. Again, either you can go to the category that contains the function, or just go to the user-defined functions at the end, and redact. Click on the pencil. So again, these are the descriptions. And again, because the second argument is optional, so you have to specify it twice. So the first time, the 2 arguments, that requires 2 arguments. And again, the first argument is the social security. The second argument is the character that needs to be used to redact the data. And you can see that this is the formula. So again, I check to see if it's a $sign, the second argument $sign. I just replace everything with space, 4 character spaces. Okay, so again, I'm using the regex. The regex looks for social security, whether it's 9 digits or whether there is a 11 character enclosing dashes. So between the digits there are dashes. The pipe means or. Either look for 9 digits or look for 11 characters that contains dashes, and then replace them. Replace the last 4. Basically, the $sign means at the end of the data, the text. Replace the last 4 digits with the spaces. However, if the second argument is greater than 1, then replace regex replace regex extract. So first I need to extract the data using regex extract. Okay, and then redact it with whatever character the user entered, asterisk. That's what the regex replace does. Okay, so this is the 2 arguments required. The other one is without one. Is simpler. If the user doesn't specify the second argument, then it just replaces the last 4 digits with asterisks by default. Okay. By the way, if anybody interested with this user-defined functions that I have, let Rebecca know. I can share it. These the 4 or 5 user-defined functions that I created. As I come up with some useful user-defined functions, I just keep adding to my user-defined functions. And you can also do the same thing. If you come up with some formula that you keep doing it in the workspace, maybe you want to just create a user-defined functions, save it in a workspace that you call it user-defined functions, and then you reuse it when you need it, or share it with your colleagues. Okay, all right. Yeah, so again, I will share this with Rebecca, and this is basically doesn't have much, but is a start that you can look at it as a template to work with and create your own user-defined functions. So the file is not that big, and you can just bring it up. So basically, it's this file, user-defined, very simple, that contains my user-defined function. So if I drag and drop it, I don't know, it's going to work. Let me just save it. Yeah. Unsave. Let me just close this. Oh, and then, oops, I don't want to do that. Just open workspace. Okay. And again, you can just ignore all that. Hopefully this is the right file. Yeah, so it's got all, 6 user-defined functions there. Okay. All right. So any other questions? I would like interested in more. I did not see an option to create user-defined functions, so I assume, yeah. Okay. All right. So a few people wanted this. I'll share that with Rebecca. If you need additional help on user-defined functions, you just click here, click on the help, and then everything's stored online. So you just click on this button, Monarch Help System, and then if you just search for user defined functions, then you get a lot of information on user defined functions.
I added that link at the start in the chat section.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, so let me see questions. Yeah, I don't see, other than they would like to get the file. Yeah, I don't see any other questions. So I don't have anything else, Rebecca, unless if there is a questions. Should we go on a pre-register questions, Rebecca?
Yes, let me launch that. That's what I'm about to do.
Okay.
So we'll do the pre-register if we have time. So real quick before we lose folks, we have our topic to vote on for our upcoming April session. If you can please select what is of interest for you. If you'd like to review the DPS summaries and analyze window, review user security, SSO, and AD integration. This is with Monarch Server. Again, another Monarch Server topic is the distributions and naming macros. And if you select other, this is where you can submit a different topic of your choice, and we'll add it to the poll question to be voted on. So when we close out this webinar, you should receive a closing survey. So please take time to fill it out. Let us know how we're doing, what we can improve on. And then there's a spot where you can enter in a spot for a new question topic idea. So I see we're at about 60%. You'll notice that you believe it's set to only allow you to make one selection. So if you may highlight the most popular item that's important to you. And by the way, these topics do remain on the poll. We might change it out every now and then, but we'll bring it back if we haven't presented it. And so we'll do a countdown. So again, get your vote in. We'll start with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so by popular vote, it's the DPS summaries in Analyze window. Mo, I know we had that one pre-registered question. We're down to like 4 minutes. I don't think we'd have time to cover that.
Yeah.
So let me just share my little closing slide real quick. Okay. And for the person who submitted that, I don't think they were on today, but we'll get to them via support ticket. So again, a copy of that PowerPoint, if you haven't not done so, if you download this, you'll have this helpful web links that you can have as a reference. So it's our community, our YouTube channel, documentation. And it seems like I can't go to the next slide for some reason. You are seeing my screen, right, Mo?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure why it's not working.
Yeah, I see your screen. Actually, it's blue color now.
Yep. Here we go.
I see it.
Sorry about that. It just got stuck. So again, here's the YouTube, our Ask the Expert, the customer success mailbox. If you need to get a hold of support, here's helpful information. Print it out, put it on your little draft board. And then these slides here is just a screenshot of our updated user community. Should you ever encounter a post or a log resource that says page not found or unavailable, please, again, reach out to us, let us know. We did just upgrade our community platform, so accidentally some of the links were broken. And again, our e-learning, so if you want to take a deeper dive, you can take it at your own pace, search for Monarch, and you can take those courses. We also do offer the opportunity to get a certification. It's earn a LinkedIn badge icon. So that's just that. Marketplace is where you'll find the latest client. And if I keep going, like I said, our next session will be April 15th. The registration page is not updated. My goal is to have it updated by March 28th, where then you can go and register. The address still remains the same for that URL address. And if you're on our mailing list, you'll receive that reminder. If you're not on our mailing list, then please feel free to email me or the team company mailbox, and we'll get you added. And so this is right down to the money. Again, thank you so much for everyone joining us. Again, we'll be back next month. Have a wonderful remaining of your day and week.
Rebecca?
Yes, sir.
One more, I gotta mention something.
Yes, please.
The user-defined functions, I believe that was added on Data Prep Studio 2023 upward, I believe. So if you're on the older version, you may not see the user-defined function. Okay? And also, if you are planning to create a user-defined functions, make sure you have a backup copy somewhere in case you accidentally delete it, so you still have your backup. Okay, and I sent the user-defined functions that I created to Rebecca, and she can share it with the folks on this meeting.
Yep, definitely. All right, thank you so much, Mo. Everyone, again, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.
Bye-bye.